Old age, Jay.
Isn't it?
Mike Weisenberg said it'll happen about 40, and I was good till just not long ago, about a year. It started just a little bit. And some days I can see better than other days too, I've noticed. Which seems strange to me.
I'm having the same problem.
You have vision problems, yeah? You're a young pup though. How are you, 40?
I don't know. Somebody's waiting to join. George.
37.
Cross County Board.
Hey,
They're already in.
how's your daughter?
He's going on 17.
She can get a free airplane ride on the 28th at the airport.
Who's
Yeah.
driving it?
Young Eagles event. Is that?
Who's driving the plane? You?
Oh, they tried to get me to chapter, but
When I first moved into the house I live in, the neighbor across the street, he got killed in an airplane down in Cornell, taking plane rides with the kids.
oh. Yeah. No, I'm
Every
not.
morning when I first moved in, the first 4 or 5 days, I'd see him drive by, and then I heard that the teacher got killed. Gone.
Krajewski.
Yeah, that's what it was. All right, I suppose we'll call the meeting to order. Has everyone read the minutes?
I'll move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second,
Second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, approve the minutes. Public comment. Anyone?
I've got a public comment. So memory serves me correctly, at the last forestry meeting, we briefly touched on the fact of, I guess, the logging job I'm talking about is off the north end of the Bergstadt Road. And the individual that logged it, he was done rather than square the roads all up. He gave up his $30,000+ bond fee. Didn't come back and complete the job. So now we've got that money, and again, my recollection to what gets talked about with that is that it ends up going back into the general fund. Where if this money, this bond money is put there in the first place to make sure that they finish their job, then I think that that money needs to go back to somebody else finishing the job, whether it's whatever they have to do in the woods, but at least go in and ditch and crown and properly do the roads again for the future to where they meet the BPM standards. I haven't been up there, but I'm going to be up there and look at it. But with each and every one of these that anybody that walks away from, or the bond money has been taken, I think that that needs to go back and be used to specifically in that area. That's where the money was generated. That was the part of the job that they're supposed to finish.
All right, anyone else? I'll say one quick thing. This could be our last meeting as a group. And I appreciate the time that I've spent here and the previous ad hoc. So I know it's Don and Dave and myself that are up. And as long as we have someone listening who will have some say in this matter, I hope that if there's some new applicants, that we're sure that all those guys are willing to do some inspections and get out there and help out. Cause it's, especially, you know, it's such a vast county side to side that definitely need to make sure that everyone's on board if there's new people brought on. So
As long as we're still in public comment, I'll echo that as well, that we need people that are willing to work and do some inspections and do some things. We don't need special interest people that just want to come to a meeting and protect their interests. Not that that's what we've got now, but we need people that are willing to get on their four-wheelers, side by sides, go out, look at some trails and
and do some things.
Anything else? All right. Update and the status of the new Excelsior Road ski trail. I talked to John Waldron a couple days ago. He said they were working at that. I think they was talked about at the last forestry meeting, getting some money, and sounds like that's moving forward, but I don't know if anyone's heard anymore. You have been up there? That's all I got on that. But they're working on it. And then Rod, you wanted to talk about this bridge?
Well, I don't know. Officially, I don't think there's been any change. No, I know we've got a couple of board members here. I don't know if they want to interject anything. As far as I know, there's been no settlement on the bridge. There's been nothing. Is that correct?
I don't think I can comment on it right now, but, I think it'll get taken care of. I think you'll be able to find out shortly.
Well, I know, I've talked to Owen a couple of times. I know his side. I know what he's thinking, and I believe he's made an offer. Maybe you can't even say that, respond to that, but
Yeah, I can't comment right on that.
hopefully before long, then we can get that thing settled one way or another, because, like I've said before, my concern is that if something would happen to where that bridge would be closed, removed, whatever, that's just gonna be a free for all up there going through that creek.
A lot of traffic up there. That bridge lately.
They can't go across the bridge. They're gonna get from one side to the other one way or another.
Yep.
Like they used to.
And we know there's a good road here and there's a good road very close. We'll get over there.
That old crossing is still there and they know where it's at.
Pay the man to keep it there.
All right, well, discuss trail conditions, any needed repairs or improvements, signage updates, and any inspection updates. Make a quick comment about this. Stopped and got gas in Weyerhaeuser the other day. There was a UTV there just caked down with the mud. The guy filling his cooler in the back with beer. I said, "Where'd you get into the mud?" I said, "Looks like you're having some fun. You got into some mud." "Oh yeah, just up there in the hills." I said, "Oh," I said, "I didn't think the trails were open." "Oh yeah, they're all open." I said, "Oh, okay." I left, went to a graduation party, come back a few hours later. The whole parking lot over there was probably, I should have stopped and counted them, 20 trucks and trailers up there. Obviously all riding, who knows where they went, but my suspicion is as those trails stay open earlier, it will just progressively get worse. I've said this before, and thankfully my area, I don't get into there, but I can imagine there's gonna be a bunch of repairs needed on these trails if we keep allowing that. That's
My personal feeling is when we went to May 1st, we made a major mistake. Because they're not staying to the gravel roads, gravel trails. They are going where it's wide open. We're gonna go where we want. And there's nobody up there to take numbers down, fine them, whatever.
There's virtually no law enforcement.
There is no law enforcement that goes on. There's other counties that do not open until the Friday before Memorial Day. And so they've already tore them up. And so then you get some water on them now with the rain. They don't heal. If we did anything, we needed to move the date like we did with the soft trails, non-gravel trails, but May 1st was a big mistake in my books.
Some of the other counties was able to adjust it. They had a June 15th or some other later date because of the dry conditions. They opened them up as they saw fit.
Well,
Yeah, some of them could have been opened up before that. And our signage up there says June 1. I looked at it this morning.
Mhm.
Just poor sign, but it says June 1.
there is, in the past here, I've been coming to these meetings since 2012. And there was times that we had a wet spring that we did not open. it stayed closed until the middle of June.
Can't we be flexible?
You'd have to get the board to go along with that. So,
So has anyone seen anything that needs repaired out there yet? Yes,
You mind if I jump?
you can jump right, we're really open here.
Okay.
We're happy to have you and Kathy, who now that I see.
So some of the problems with creating ordinances, sometimes we don't put a date in there. And then people get upset because they're like, oh, you're leaving it up to the forester and now they can just take advantage whenever they want. They can shut whenever down. So then you put a date in there to try to give some guidelines. And then the next thing is, well, now you have a date and it should be flexible. So I'm not sure, you know, I mean, if it's left up to the forester or the head of the forestry department, I don't have an issue with that. It was more of a concern coming from the public that if we don't put something in there that it could be taken advantage of if there's not a specific guideline.
But when that happened, we moved it forward. We were, as a committee, was pushing for a later date, 20 days later, but instead it got moved 26 days sooner.
the ATV club and Jared got together and got this before you. They didn't even bring it to us to talk about it. It just was a slam bam, thank you, ma'am, this is a done deal.
And what happened from what I see up there, being there all the time, everybody was accustomed to the Friday before Memorial Day. And then they went to the May 1st, everybody's under the assumption everything's wide open. Not just the main corridors and the gravel road, but it's all open. And I'm out there every weekend and I'm running into them all the time.
I think the long-term effects of that, but I mean, that's neither here nor there, but I'll tell you about a conversation I had with someone at this graduation party. They said UTVs and ATVs will be the salvation of tourism in these counties with public. And I said, it's more likely as time goes on, that kind of use will be the ruination. And I'm not against, and I want everyone to go out there and have a good time, but I think that, boy, the way it looked to me, they are getting absolutely, it's like taking a tiny little gravel road and pouring 50 semis a day down there and then wondering why they aren't holding up. And I think the more that we promote that and the earlier it is, that's something the next committee may want to discuss with the forestry about trying to adjust that, because I think it is the absolute ruination of this county forest. So
I would encourage our forestry board members, if you're on Facebook, to join the Wisconsin ATV UTV site and follow that. Now this spring, the different counties were on there posting when they were opening. And people would be saying, when are we opening? When are we open? Well, we normally don't open until this date because we stayed as dry as we did. Some of them opened a little earlier than their normal date, but their dates were real close to the 1st of June. We're the early guys. And why is that? Well, Chippewa County is May 1st, if conditions are right. They don't always open on May 1st either. And just because they went that direction didn't mean we had to. Washburn County is the Friday before Memorial Day. And there was people on there chomping at the bit. Well, we want to ride. What trails can we ride? The trails are closed. And people were behaving. They were not on their trails. So, well, the word's out. Hey, all of our trails are open May 1st, which they're not. That's what they're destroying up there.
anything else on that?
Well, Jay, so you guys have a list of the trails that need attention or?
We wouldn't normally start inspecting them till June. You know, they said we could, I think, did you okayed it?
I emailed Jared and I think they were gonna email you something.
Because I believe that the bulk of the members of this don't want to see any damage at all. You know what I mean? We want to be, so they're not even comfortable riding out there till, you know what I mean? So until the people get out there now shortly, you know, which is supposed to be June 15th, we don't even see the damage that's already a month old now. And that's been the problem. I see we've saw a few years, and, you know, there's a spot on 27, and this is obviously, it's just DOT land, but they come through the swamp and they're stuck there every day, all day long, right where Jay goes west, dragging debris up onto the road. And you can see that the previous guy got stuck and the beer cans are falling out, and it just goes on and on and on every single year. And it's so frustrating for a guy like me to watch. And, but it is what it is. And there's just, you know, that's just the people trying to get up and across Jay, and there's one tiny little spot and they do not care. You know, they're in there. I've been driven by and it looks like there's a cyclone of mud flying out of the swamp there. So we don't even see it till he has to do some early inspections.
Yep.
But we won't even see it till in a few days when we can get out there. See, you
I
know,
was gonna go do some of them on Sunday, but after the 9/10 of rain, I'm like, nope, not even gonna do it, even though Jared and Dane had said,
uh,
I'll have it on the next agenda for discussion again.
what's that?
Have it on the next forestry agenda for discussion again.
I understand that one of the complaints is going to be, well, we've got all of our new signs all made. Well, those new signs don't protect our forest. And again, my opinion is the signs need to be changed. We need to at least go back to where we were, at least.
So instead of having the symbols, to have like a bigger sign that says more information on it.
I think you're just talking about the opening dates, Bob.
Dates, not the signage.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So to comment on that, the thing I've seen since this has all come along, the first year before the signs were put up and everything was put into effect, I'm up there all the time on a Saturday at 10 o'clock. It was get out of the hills or you're going to get run over. I will say, in my opinion, I have seen that in the last 2 years, gotten much better, seeing a lot more slower groups, older, retired people tootling. It's not the ripping and roaring. So that has come down. There's still, like you said, you saw one and he had mud all over it.
Yeah.
And when I see them, or they'll stop and ask me, where's the mud? Where'd you come from? Go home. You know, so it has gotten better, gotten a lot more friendly. Bob, can you comment on that? What are you seeing?
I don't ride on the weekends.
You're smart.
Well, because of the traffic. I had a close call with a guy sliding sideways around the corner with the UTV, and I'm on an ATV going slow, sucking the inside of the corner. And I kind of went out in the brush, and he had a big surprised look on his face too. And then as I was coming down, I met the same pair of guys, and they hadn't slowed down any. This is their personal racetrack to some of them.
The signage has stopped them. Slowed them down is also my opinion, the green ones that say dead end, they're like, well, we don't want to go down that. So I believe that has helped tremendously to save these trails.
I did see on the Facebook site, and someone else has started one now that says, Blue Hills ATV information or something like that. And on there, it said the UTVs are running the closed Green Diamond Trails. I'm just not real happy with them up there this early.
I right up there today, this morning, just to see, and there was people up there today. And I didn't actually see them on the track, because after the rain, it was fresh. It was raining.
And
If they stayed on the gravel like it was supposed to have been. But the one thing that I, as a hunter, that use the forest in the fall, do not want to see is I don't want to see our small trails closed off. Because we that hunt and use them and are not out there to rip them up and whatnot, we don't want to see them destroyed. We want to see them open so that we can use them in the fall. Unfortunately, that's not how the discussion always goes. Well, let's just close it all. That doesn't help us that hunts.
And we have to realize that this is all new to people when they pass the rules, you know what I mean? There was a whole new thing, so there's a learning curve but we don't want to be discourage anyone from being up there, but it's hard to get them to understand there's rules when you can't. I mean, people drive down the highway 100 miles an hour and they just, no one, if you feel like following the rules, you follow the rules. If you don't, you don't. That's the way the world has come. But yeah. Anyway, typically we have on there, and I didn't notice it, trails that, people asked for. Did you see that? I must have missed that. I will be honest with you, my vision's starting to go to heck when I look at stuff on my phone, and usually it has trails that, people want, I guess we can throw that in on the conditions and improvements and signage and any inspection updates. I have one, it's, BH 94, and I give it to Don. And if you guys could, it's close to your area, would you have time to look that over?
I'll check it out, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there this morning, went right by it this morning.
Yeah. And so that's off of Wagner Road.
Yep.
You guys just, you both look it over, see what you think, and the guy would like it. The guy, I think he does some camping. I don't know what he does up there. But would like it open so he could drive his truck in there, so. And he had given me one before a while back, the same guy, but he said they were logging in there and wasn't no point in doing anything until they were done logging a different one, so.
Off Birch Lake or something, wasn't it up?
Yeah, I'll have to look back on my phone.
Yeah, is there someplace?
So, did we have any more requests for open trails?
I had one for way down in the southwest, south of Flater's Resort down there, kind of by Fireside Lake, and I'm familiar with the trail, and I met with Dane earlier today, asked him about it, and I guess I hadn't looked at the map, but that's actually been opened up. I guess they did a logging job down there, and they,
Okay.
they reworked that trail, and that's open, so I guess the work's already done on that one. And Bob talked about, North Berkseth Road, we gotta check that out. We got a east of Hackett Road, we need to check that out, so.
Yeah,
we've got
and
some on our list.
I went by it too quick yesterday. I glanced on the way back home. And I glanced and I thought, there isn't grass smash down, is there? Going east?
Been up there.
So,
Yeah, I planned on going back up this week and putting the food plot in, but with the rain, that ain't happening.
did Dane ever be able to figure out, was he able to put dates on these trails so we know when and that's
No.
not possible, or?
It's not easy for sure. And his opinion, I've talked to him a couple of times. He told me, he said, don't worry about the date. If you're, just go ahead and inspect it. If you're there, if you're concerned about it, just inspect it. If it's been done, fairly recently, no big deal.
That's what we talked about originally, then they had some timeline they were, well,
I don't think they really do have a timeline, so I don't think we're locked into that at all. And keep in mind, anything that's where there's a log job or there's gonna be a log job, they're gonna inspect it. The forestry department will. So, we don't need to worry about those.
Yes. Down by Fireside, I rode them last fall, that's a nice trail down there.
Yeah.
Nice shape.
With what you just said, keep in mind, I have seen early traffic in the northeast block over the years, early traffic. And then sometimes I've caught those guys that are early traffic. And they are either loading up or have loaded up into a forestry truck. Because the closed motorized vehicle doesn't apply to them. And if they leave the ruts on the trail, that's okay.
well, in fairness to them.
I know.
No,
They have a job
to expedite their work, and after they mark that, 2 weeks later, a D9 cat's coming, so it won't make no difference. You know what I mean? They're gonna have it, for the most part, so. I would rather have those guys with what they make in their, precious their time as riding their ATV and they're knowing full well they're gonna be driving semis a week or two later, so, you know, that's my preference, you know.
To make an appointment.
Oh, yeah, but those are all over, we ain't stopping those. Anything else on that?
Yeah, I do have a couple updates on signage. So last fall, a couple of trails that were approved by Dane, he asked for to wait till the logging job was over. I see the signs of, or the map has been updated, so I did update that. So it's BH 1219A, BH 1246, and BH 1217.
First one, please.
Sorry,
What was the first one, please?
BH 1219A.
Thank you.
Got them all?
Yep.
So
And so you did.
I did sign them and re-update it.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
awesome.
So it was easy enough to, Bob, that's down off the end of the Euchre Road where you and I went last year.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Where they, yeah, it's a
Beautiful.
super highway.
Super highway and all Dane said was just wait till you're done.
Are those ATV or they're everything?
They are everything.
Oh,
Will be a white diamond trail.
White Diamond Trail.
At that point, and
The
then,
end of the rock point, and that's where I dead ended it with the green going forward.
but,
Excuse me, where you and I looped around and came through, that one is green, but on the other fork of that one coming off of 1246 is dead ended now.
so will that show in this map already then, or does they have to be brought up? to the
It was
forest?
already brought up on this map.
Oh.
It just wasn't signed. That's
Oh,
why I had to wait for
okay.
Dane to get it done on here. And
Hmm.
all he asked is that, hey, just wait till we're done with the complete logging job. We're done cutting, but we got to haul out.
that's got it all hauled now, right?
I tried.
All right, very good.
With the rain, that's about all I got done this weekend.
All right.
We talked about that trail that I asked about the last meeting. F. It's not, don't have a number.
You know what?
Yeah.
I had that in my notes too. Did you ever get a number for that? Did you guys get a number for that?
I tracked it. I got a track of that trail.
Yeah.
I don't know how to find a number. And that, what's this Avenza thing is wrong. Not right.
Did it help you?
Yeah,
We looked at that. I'm trying to remember what we,
I'm trying to remember too.
You didn't do any better job than we did?
How do I find the
Nick
number?
does a lot better job.
I guess I looked at it and I was surprised that it didn't show up on the inventory because it was such a big, wide trail through there.
Oh, that one's so not the one you proposed here. That was the other one that went east and west off of
Patsy Lake Road.
Betsy Lake Road and what we call Boar Hill up there. But yeah,
Shows on here that there's a north-south road. There is no north-south road.
Well, that's
Got it
probably
on
some old.
Onyx. I tracked it on Onyx, full length, start to end. But that's beyond my skill set to get it from there to here or to you or.
Can you stop and talk to Nick and be really nice to Nick and see if he'll help you get a number on it?
Do you have your computer?
You have when we're done, I'll look at your app.
'cause I remember Nick last time going, yeah, this is, I can see it on here, but it's
And I
not there.
think I talked to Dane or Jared about the road too and exactly what conclusion we came. When we're done here, let me look at your app and see if there's a way you download the trail, the GPS points.
Call Japan or anything with that phone? Is it the one called Japan or anything when you give them your phone there?
He's got free long distance.
I don't know anybody. Just you.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
this is wrong.
all right, and we don't have any actual trails. You did sign the ones, but ready for,
Yep.
okay.
Nothing to submit though.
But we'll have one to look at. You guys will have one to look at next one. All right, Rod, are you gonna give us this refresher course here now?
Well, not really.
Yeah.
I did these handouts. I stopped and talked to Dane earlier this afternoon. And he updated mine. If you haven't been in on those apps in a while, you're gonna have to enter your username and password to get in there. And Dane had to give them to me, which I don't know if we're all the same. Wouldn't be surprised, but no. My username was R.L. Wanger _ Russ County. All lowercase, so you guys can probably guess what your usernames are.
Correct.
So, R.L. Wanger _ Russ County, written, spelled out, is the username. Password, are we all the same?
Might not want to see.
No, I don't think.
Want to do that? Oh,
No, I think we're all different.
Okay. Cause mine's pretty generic, that made me think that it's everybody's, but
Don't forget you're on line right now too.
yeah.
I think when I tried to get into it last month, it just wasn't cooperating with me.
Mine has never let me in there. It always says it's not compatible.
You might have to check with Dane or Nick to figure out how to get in there. So do that before you go to actually do an inspection, unless like Brent's probably got his up and working, but
You know what? I fumble through it. But it says update, confirm, submitted. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess it did, but I have to like reject or sign in later a couple of times. And I actually need to talk to Dane to make sure.
Cause there's been a few emails that Nick has even sent me. I've not been able to open, something to do with, I don't know.
well, these handouts, the Russ County Off-Road Use Field Map, be honest with you, I haven't even had a chance to look through these. I just got them from Dane. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It tells you how to use the field map app, which is extremely easy. You might have to update it. I think it was November something. I updated mine because I was working on August. So, so you might have to update that. And then the other one, the Russ County Trail Inspection Form, kind of walks you through the Survey 1, 2, 3 app where you actually do the inspection. You answer all the questions online. You can go back and forth between that and field map if you want it. If you need to get the number of the trail. But otherwise, and wherever there's a red asterisk is a required question you have to answer. And, Dane put this together, kind of walked through it, give you some examples. So that's doing it online. And then there's a paper version. So, like Don, if you want to do this, there's a paper version there where you can just fill it out. By hand. It's the same questions. Fill that out and give that to Dane as well. And take a couple pictures and, text him those pictures or somehow get the pictures to Dane. Just kind of, say about where the picture was taken and what it shows. And he says that's good enough for him. So if you want to do the written version, you can do that.
I had him put all that stuff on my phone. I haven't seen it since.
You may need to go check with Dane and have him tell you what's going on there. If you do the online, you can there's a page 3 or 4 or whatever, where you can actually take the pictures right there and it tags it to the form with GPS points. Obviously that's the best way of doing it, because then the pictures are tagged with GPS points right on the form.
If your remote don't have signal, it'll wait till you get service and then it'll
Download it
through.
Can I make a suggestion, Connie, this is also on next month's agenda for this, because in case there's some new members, they can get a quick lesson of it.
Yeah. Will we have new members next meeting?
First,
That's the goal, right?
Well, yeah,
Well, because
yeah,
next forestry meeting, you guys are gonna pick them, right?
possible new members, right?
Rod, do you know for sure? Is this the paper one? Is there some other things in here that weren't on the survey 1, 2, 3? It does look a little bit different.
It's possible. I haven't sat down and compared them.
I thought that they were the same.
Do you think so? Maybe I'm mistaken.
When he'd initially put this together, they were supposedly one and the same. One you could do online, one you could turn in hard copy.
You want a copy, Phil? There's a set right this, you want a copy, grab it, that's,
I think I've gotten a copy.
I mean, if you guys want a copy.
And if you wanna come out on a trail inspection, that's good too.
I'll do that in my free time.
Saturday morning.
Or you can go into a meeting.
Anything else, you guys?
Comment on these trails. Today I was up there riding. I seen fresh tracks go, a gate that was closed last week was open and tracks went in there. Gate shut behind him, whoever it is.
Locked. The gate.
Can't lock it, but it's a hell of a lift to shut it.
If it was me, it would have been locked. If I knew, if it was me, it'd be locked if I knew you were down there.
My back is still hurting because the gate's going like that. I had to get it up. Heavy lift, so somebody might be complaining about.
Well, if there's nothing else, it's, I'll say one more time, I'll let Kathy, I do appreciate my time on both these committees, so hopefully, there's a bunch of new members that are willing to help out the ones that are willing to do the work, so. Anything else?
I hope that you have sent your paperwork in.
Well, I have not yet.
The other comment I would like to make on the members and, it's just members at large. There's no areas for certain members, which I guess is something that could be looked at in the future, but maybe it doesn't need to be, but the Blue Hills is the biggest need we have. I mean, the East, with our current committee, we have covered with Ross, myself and Bob. We've got the East covered.
Yeah.
If Jay stays on, Jay's got the North covered.
I did the Lee Lake in like 3 hours myself,
Yeah.
you know, when I did it originally.
The Blue Hills is the need. A lot of trails. That's the biggest need.
All right. We're gonna adjourn this thing?
The next meeting.
Oh, we better figure that out. Getting hog out here.
Once again, when's forestry meeting?
Maybe next Tuesday it is.
Right. The 17th, right? But then next month would be July.
Let's give some time to inspect a few of these make sure they got time to inspect a few of these
So
trails.
you could have the 14th, but then the 15th would be, that's the third.
Not a week then, is it? It's gotta be before that.
We need a week?
Yeah.
We had to have a week from our meeting to the next meeting? No?
They have 20, I mean, if whatever you're posting for forestry, she's gotta have time to post that. Whatever you want, or if you just have a standing
Usually we just have the standing.
Standing
agenda item,
item for trail inspections.
then you can have it.
But if you've got anything out of the normal, you need a week.
No, I'll just be doing a pile of
If
trail.
it's just your normal trail inspections, there's a standing agenda.
So you can just do it the
So next forestry is when?
July 14th, right?
15th.
15th.
15th is a Tuesday.
So you tell you guys it doesn't make
But
any
you're not
difference.
having it on a Monday?
We generally have it the Monday prior to the Tuesday, a week.
A week.
So that puts it July 7th. But then how that comes into play with the holiday weekend, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably.
That's the second. Whatever you guys.
We have done them on a Thursday.
see.
That would be the 10th.
Let me see the.
My boss won't give me the day off, I'll quit.
July 14th, there's nothing. July 15th, there is forestry. July 7th is booked at 3:30. So
How about Thursday?
which one?
About the 10th.
You're good.
You could do it on the 10th.
This is an 8 AM meeting, that's it.
My 10th work for you guys?
July 10th work for you?
Maybe they were
I'm sure you guys are gonna be here.
So
may not be here, but whatever.
the next meeting in July, do they need to add to the agenda to elect a chair?
That,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to go back through all that again. Yeah.
You want it July 10th, you guys?
Fine with that.
4:30?
Works for me.
During this operation. We don't have to have a motion to adjourn, right, Connie?
Nope.
Adjourn. I should have had Phil's gavel for a second, just leave it out on that.